For those who know North Melbourne, they know only anything but pain. It is a tough time being a North Melbourne fan from personal experience, but with 2026, I'm hoping, along with many other North fans, that 2026 will see our best 23 make a step up. Let's see what North Melbourne has to offer this year. And unfortunately, we start with the worst of it all. Unfortunately for North Melbourne, they have a clear problem, and it's still their backline. The backline is a very, very glaring problem. And unfortunately this year, despite a few players here and there that excite me, there's still glaring issues with this team. And with that being said, we'll get stuck into the back six. And it's going to be Toby Pink, Charlie Comben, Luke McDonald, Riley Hardiman, Aiden Corr, and Colby McKercher. So, there are a few there that I can tell you off the top of my head that are potentially missing. But for you, do you reckon that's about as far as they can get, or do you think they should reach elsewhere?
It's very much what I was looking at. Like, at least the three main ones in Comben, Corr, and Pink is exactly where I was going.
Yeah.
Like, I'm a huge fan of Charlie Comben. I think when you want to look at a potential comparison of him as a player, like a B-Tech Harris Andrews, he just needs to find his Jack Payne, I think is really important. Aiden Corr actually was kind of good last year.
I was going to say, like,
I'm not going to say he was good.
Yeah,
I know. Kind of good.
I know. I've always been critical of the bloke because oftentimes he plays like a caveman and has only kick and mark.
Yes.
And that's all he's got. But, like, with Aiden, it feels like because he's one of our only decent one-on-one defenders, he
He's
shines.
in the team by default.
He shines.
Well.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly right. The one I really found it tough to put in was Luke McDonald because, like, as much as a North fan, I loved when he was captain and how he had to fight through the hardest of times as captain. It is a glaring point of contention for me. He looked a little cleaner last year than some of his previous seasons during the worst of times, but of course I'd much rather there be an improvement. Thankfully there is one or two players, I think, in future that could take his spot.
Ideally, you would have probably Jackson Archer in that spot.
Yeah, no, exactly.
I think obviously with his ACL injury, it's really unfortunate that's happened. He's had a few years now where he's just been interrupted. But ideally, next year, that's what the immediate change would be. Hardiman and McKercher, I think, off halfback actually make a pretty nice pairing.
I think they're fantastic.
Especially McKercher.
Yeah, McKercher's been making noise all throughout North.
He looks to be having that 23 to 24 Naz jump, I think.
Jesus Christ.
In terms of 2023, really solid halfback. Obviously, McKercher had some really good moments as well last year. Now you're a solid AA contending halfback.
Yeah, I really hope so. Bloody hell, I would love McKercher to be that because there was some time, like, he would kick goals off that halfback position last year, like, and he knows how to, like, weave through opponents really, really well. So there's a lot of hope with McKercher, and Hardiman is becoming a really sneaky, solid halfbacker. I think when he first jumped in last season, I believe, he got his first games, and he looked a lot more poised than a lot of other North players. A lot more poised. Yeah. So it was nice to see a bit of professionalism out of Riley. It's such a young point in his career. Yeah. But let's move to the midfield because
the wings, I think we had a bit of contention on in terms of they're just midfielders.
Exactly right. Yeah, no. Look, not a bad thing because often when they're midfielders, they're often considered talented.
Yeah.
And for Jai, he's been a midfield/winger for as long as I can remember. Obviously, the contention in the offseason was he didn't want to play that role, and so he's happy to kind of look elsewhere to see if someone else had a midfield role for him. But, I mean, from all accounts, it looks like the entire team has settled and Jai understands his role a bit more. And although he's dropped the captaincy because of his trade request, Jai has I want to say seamlessly, maybe a bit biasly, I'm saying seamlessly has fit back into this team. But he's going to be on the wing most likely. He may get rotation time in the midfield, but he's come to accept the role he's got.
Good.
For the moment, at least.
Yeah.
Foss is the other one. Mm-hmm. And Foss is the one, I could talk forever about Foss because he's such a wild card for me. I don't know where he's going to find himself in this team. It's almost because he's joined this team as a potential midfielder later than everyone else. He's looking on the outside in. So potentially this wing position and this wing role gives him the opportunity to show his worth and potentially pip someone for that for that midfield role. But the midfielders for this team, the in and under, is Tom Powell at centre, as well as, of course, Sherry as the ruck, LDU and Sheasel. Three expected names in Sherry, LDU, Sheasel, and then Tom Powell may be confusing to some, but Tom Powell has always been a pretty consistent, I want to say hard-nosed player, not as hard-nosed as some others. A notable one will be missing. You'll hear from soon, but Tom Powell, really reliable with ball, gets himself around in important spots. I think cleanliness sometimes lets him down, though. That's the only thing.
Yeah. Looking at the rest of the midfield, though, obviously you got Tristan Cherry, like AA contender.
Yeah,
He is
and
one of the
there's
best
lots
ruck
of
in the
people who
league.
are saying he could potentially pip best ruck in the league.
Could absolutely see that. LDU, Sheasel, Powell. Looks pretty nice as the trio. I think Tom Powell, obviously, more that in and under contested midfielder. LDU sort of in that in-between, can get it as himself, but can also work with Powell. And then Sheasel's obviously, outside ball damage. That works pretty well as a trio. And Sheasel, again, we've seen him rack up 54 touches. We know how good he is.
Exactly. I think if this team were to be complete, this would be North Melbourne's next contending team. I think it's just, I could talk forever about the back line and how that could potentially let down any team, this team's hopes in the future. But let's move to their forward, because their forward's exciting.
There's a lot of excitement here. I'm actually really impressed with how their forward line has developed.
Yeah, really impressed, because it feels like there's hope in places, there's consistency in others, there's leadership at the very top, because Nick Larkey, of course, is the full forward for this team and new captain of North Melbourne. I'm very happy it went to Nick. Very happy. Because, the story of being, pick 72 and turning into the captain of a football club is a fantastic story in itself. Cam Zerha takes the centre-half forward position. He is a rare, I don't want to say rare, but he's one of those key position mid-sized players.
Yeah.
He's an absolute ball, but as a man who, 180, I think he's in the 180s, considering he's decently tall, but not as tall as many of your other key backs, it could potentially be tough. But he plays a roaming role so well that really it just needs to find its way to Larkey. Zerha will play as a linking forward, and a really strong linking forward at that. Around him, Paul Curtis. The hope is that he'll stay fit and healthy for as much of the year as possible.
Don't do anything stupid. Both to the MRO and to him.
Yeah, exactly. I know, Curtis last year could have had an All-Australian potential season, I believe, at least.
Yeah.
Or, had a really, really good season at the very least. If, one, he hadn't gotten suspended, two, he'd stayed a bit more healthy. It was so in and out, and not even because of, poor play. It's just other circumstances. But Luke Parker, I've loved Luke ever since he came into the side. Been really solid. Doverston.
Yeah. Just got to play him. Regardless of whether he kicks goals or not, just got to get that on the field.
Exactly right. And there's a spot for him, which is the great part. Oftentimes, North Melbourne would play the likes of Zach Banch and Jacob Constantine down there to try and Cooper Harvey as well. I think Doverston, being a guy who's worked in that role for his entire childhood, getting into the AFL, he's already got the understanding of that role perfectly fit. So I think this could be a perfect spot for Doverston. And Charlie Spargo. I think there's a reason they would have tried to bring him in, not just because of a favour to his father, who used to play for North Melbourne, but Spargo will get himself some chances. It's just hopefully he'll take them. That's the hope. Any additions to that one?
Not overly. I think it's a bit small in the forward line, but again, we've got Cooper Trembath and Jack Darling on our bench, so it's very much just a bit of a tweak that changes that pretty easily. Caleb Daniel makes sense to have in there. George Wardlaw makes sense to have in there. Both, one's experienced, one's more of a younger player who's just dealt with a lot of injuries. The one I do want to question you on, because this was your pick, is Hugo Mukunda.
Yes. Been hearing nothing but positives about Hugo playing as a bit of an attacking midfielder role. So potential rotation piece for some inexperienced Lockie Doverston rotations, maybe. But I believe he sits at about 180 centimetres and has been getting a lot of high praise within the North Melbourne kind of sphere at the moment.
Yeah.
And so him coming off the bench to potentially provide a spark plug for this team could be really big for North Melbourne. Again, North seem to thrive off of those sneaky picks, and he came in at pick 48 with not too much expectation in a place where opportunity can arise out of nowhere, considering the talent on this team isn't as much as others. Hugo's, I think he's got it all set up for him. I think I've picked him specifically and confidently picked him here, obviously because it's my team and I've been paying a bit more attention to them than others. But Hugo is looking to be a really, really nice piece to kind of rotate in and out, much like
Yeah.
Cooper Trembath was when he came in.
Mm-hmm.
So, with that being said, the obvious signs of failure for this team is their backline. Because, like, where's the only rotation piece for the backline here is Caleb Daniel.
Yeah. Listen.
The only thing that could change this is if Blake Threadgold turns into a gun.
I mean,
He was their other pick,
You got Griffin Logue.
but he's unfortunately falling in. It feels like he's falling into the same trap Aiden Core was, where he's becoming either punch or kick every single time. Like,
How
no
about-
thought behind his play.
No, I'm joking.
No. There's a bunch of other players I could talk about with this team, but
yeah. There's
it's just there's obvious stuff, and there's very few pieces that you think are definitely on the rise.
it's all starting to fit together.
It
I think
is, but
if
it's
you're a
just
North
taking
Melbourne
so
fan,
long.
if you're a North Melbourne fan, there is finally hope starting to seep in.
Yeah, but I mean, we've said that a few times around now.
Nah, there's never been hope like this.
I hope so. Hey, fingers crossed. For my fellow North Melbourne fans who are watching this one, appreciate you all watching all the way through. Will we win the premiership this year? And how quickly? Say yes, please. Anyway,
Thank you for watching. Goodbye.
Thank you for watching. Cheers.